6, 4 through 5.
Verse 4. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our Elohim is one, Adonai. And thou shalt love Yahweh thy Elohim with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might.
Praise Yah. And the Mashiach added to the Shema by saying you shall love your neighbors as yourselves, and on these 2 commandments hang all the law and the prophets. Mm-hmm. Okay, Elder, let's read the church oracles.
I'm going to read the oracles of the church to invite the angels that stands at the door to come in, yes, that the Spirit might dwell among us. I'm going to begin in 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. Yeah. Verse 7. But the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man have received a gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim giveth, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yeshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed unto the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be ye kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim, for the Mashiach's sake, hath forgiven you. Be ye therefore followers of Elohim as dear children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also hath loved us, and hath given himself for us, an offering and a sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be one's name among you, as becometh saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks.
Amen.
Amen. Revelation chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcometh will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame, and am set down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
Praise Yah.
Amen.
Praise Yah. Okay, Elder, let's show the world why we do what we do. Let them know that we're not just up here whistling Dixie.
Oh.
Let's go to Numbers 28, 11 through 15. Numbers 28, 11 through 15.
Numbers 15.
Numbers 28.
28, 11 through 15.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go to 14. 11 to 14.
Numbers 15.
Numbers 28.
20.
11 through 14.
11 through 14. Numbers 28, verses 11 through 14.
Yes, sir.
And in the beginning of your months, you shall offer a burnt offering unto Yahweh, 2 young bullocks and 1 ram, 7 lambs of the first year without spot, and 3/10 deals of flour for a meal offering, mingled with oil for 1 bullock, and 2/10 deal of flour for a meal offering, mingled with oil for 1 ram, and a several tenth deal of flour mingled with oil for a meal offering unto 1 lamb, for a burnt offering of a sweet savor, a sacrifice made by fire unto Yahweh. And their drink offering shall be half a hin of wine unto a bullock, and the 3rd part of the hin unto a ram, and a 4th part of a hin unto a lamb. This is the burnt offering of every month throughout the months of the year.
Praise God. And that's in the law book. Let's go to Psalms 81, 1 through 4. Psalms 81, 1 through 4.
Verse 1. Sing aloud unto Elohim our strength. Make a joyful noise unto the Elohim of Yaakov. Take a psalm and bring hither the timbrel, the pleasant harp with the psaltery. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed, on our solemn feast day. For this was a statute for Israel and a law of the Elohim of Yaakov.
Praise God. Let's go one more place. Let's go to Ezekiel 46, 1 through 3. These are a shadow of things to come, so in the future, we'll be doing that. Is that right? Is that right? Okay. Ezekiel 46.
Right on it, bro.
Okay.
Verse 1. Thus saith the Adonai Elohim, the gate of the inner court that looketh toward the east shall be shut the 6 working days, but on the Shabbat it shall be open, and in the day of the new moon it shall be open. And the prince shall enter by the way of the porch of that gate without, and shall stand by the post of the gate, and the priest shall prepare his burnt offerings and his peace offerings, and he shall worship at the threshold of the gate. Then he shall go forth, but the gate shall not be shut until the evening. Likewise, the people of the land shall worship at the door of this gate before Yahweh in the Shabbats and in the new moon.
Praise Yah. Okay, brothers and sisters, the title of this class is Heroes and Heroines of the Faith. Heroes and Heroines of the Faith. According to American history, it states that people like George Washington, General Patton, John Wayne, Elvis Presley, Babe Ruth, Walt Disney, Hugh Hefner, etc., are heroes. Now, black folk recognize people like Barack Obama, Martin Luther King Jr., Muhammad Ali, Oprah Winfrey, Dick Gregory, General Colin Powell, just to name a few, are theirs. Now, without a doubt, these people are influential and made major contributions to society in their own time. But I have yet to see any documentation of any of them thanking or calling on the name of Yah, his only begotten son, Yahshua's name, nor acknowledging the children of Israel as the chosen people. So by whose standards are they considered heroes, man or Elohim? Now, the definition of hero in faith. The word hero or heroine does not appear in the Bible, but according to the World Wide Web, a hero is a person who is admired or idolized for courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities. Also, a hero, according to mythological and folklore, is a person of superhuman capabilities and of semi-divine origin. Some better fitting word maybe would be champion, warrior, or mighty people of faith. But nevertheless, the word faith does appear in the Bible, in the King James Version, twice in the Old Testament, which is in Deuteronomy 32 and 20, and in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 4, and 245 times in the so-called New Testament. Now, Webster's Dictionary of Faith is a belief and trust in and loyalty to God, a belief in traditional doctrines of a religion, or a firm belief in something. However, the Bible, the biblical definition is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So let's start this off in Hebrews 11. Yes, sir.
You happen to know why that gate is open, the significance. I know the Sabbath and full moon, but is there a portal open or something as well?
So you talking about verse 1 for 46?
Yeah. When the gate is open, it's shut 6 days, but on the Sabbath and the new moon it shall be open.
Right.
I'm saying, could it be, is that a portal? Why they pray to the east? Why is it open specifically on the Sabbath and the new moon?
Well,
Yahweh has a specific meaning. I'm just trying to figure out what that could possibly be.
well, pretty sure in the Shabbat they're having a holy convocation, right? And then on the new moon, that's also one of Yahweh's holy feast days. So yeah, it shouldn't be open until those days. Yeah.
It's telling you King David's going to enter in by the gate. Just like he said, if the gate is open so the prince can enter. Verse 2, right? It's telling you why the gate is open.
Okay, let's start this off in Hebrews 11.
Hebrews chapter 11.
Yeah. And we're going to jump around a little bit.
Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by faith the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of Elohim, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. By faith Abel offered unto Elohim a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, by which he obtained witness that he was righteous, Elohim testifying of his gifts, and by it he being dead yet speaketh.
Okay, Elder, hold on. Let's go check that out. Let's go to Genesis 4, 1 through 7. Let's look a little bit deeper into that. So, Abel, I guess this is one of the first brothers of faith, one of them. So let's read, let's go to Genesis 4, 1 through 7.
Verse 1. And Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from Yahweh. And she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of the sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground.
Right. Now, Abel was a keeper of sheep, right? Just like Dawid. He was a keeper of sheep. Okay, continue, Elder.
Genesis chapter 4, verse 3. And in process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto Yahweh. And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And Yahweh had respect unto Abel and to his offering, But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell.
So Abel was following the instructions from his father Adam. So he brought his sacrifice, and it had blood. Cain brought a sacrifice, and it was fruit. So Yahweh didn't even recognize that. So the only way that you can be forgiven of sins is through a blood sacrifice. Okay, Elder, continue on that.
Genesis chapter 4, verse 6. And Yahweh said unto Cain, why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, should thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. And unto you shall be his desire, and you shall rule over him.
Right. So you sin and don't have no forgiveness. Sin lieth at the door, and you know what comes after sin. That's death. All right. Let's go back to Hebrews 11, Elder. And let's do this, verse 5 through 6. Now, these are people who Yahweh considered as warriors of the faith. You're not going to hear this on Black History Month.
Hebrews chapter 11, verses 5 and 6.
Okay.
By faith, Enoch was translated that he should not see death, and was not found because Elohim had translated him. For before his translation, he had this testimony that he pleased Elohim. But without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to Elohim must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. Okay,
let's look at that. I mean, it's not a lot said about Enoch, but let's look at that. Let's go to Genesis 5, 21 through 24. Let's see what we can get up out of that. Okay.
Genesis chapter 5, verses 21 through 24. And Enoch lived 65 years and begot Methuselah. And Enoch walked with Elohim after he begot Methuselah 300 years and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years. And Enoch walked with Elohim, and he was not, for Elohim took him.
So apparently Enoch did something that Yahweh liked. Because how can you walk with Elohim and you're not being obedient? So we're going to get into that. Let's go back to Hebrews, Elder. Hebrews 11. And let's read verse 7.
Verse 7. By faith, Noah, being warned of Elohim of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by the which he condemned the world and became heir of the righteousness which is by faith.
Praise Yah. Let's look at that. Let's look at that. Let's go to Genesis 6, 8 through 22. And let's see why Noah is up here, warriors. Why is he in here? Let's see.
Genesis chapter 6, verses 8 through 22. But Noah found grace in the eyes of Yahweh. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with Elohim.
Okay, so Enoch walked with Elohim. So now we're seeing Noah, that's his great-great-grandson. And now we're seeing him walking with Elohim too. Okay, let's finish that up.
Genesis chapter 6, verse 10. And Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before Elohim, and the earth was filled with violence. And looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt. For all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And Elohim said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth.
Okay.
Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Room shalt thou make in the ark, and shall pitch it within and without with pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make it of. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits.
Okay. Yeah, that's 450 by 75 by 45. So that would look like a modern day ocean liner. Okay, continue, Elder.
Genesis chapter 6, verse 16.
Yes, sir.
A wonder shalt thou make to the ark, and in a cubit shalt thou finish it above, and the door of the ark shalt thou set in the side thereof. With lower, second, and third stories shalt thou make it.
Okay, so Noah is building this big ark in front of everybody. And they probably like, man, what are you doing? He's like, that's all right, I'm going to show you. Okay, keep going, Elder.
Genesis chapter 6, verse 17. And behold, even I do bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life from under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die.
So it never rained. Never rained before until this time right here. So Noah has the faith to listen to what Yahweh tell him and to follow it to a T, regardless of whatever everybody else is doing around him. Okay, Elder, let's keep it going.
Genesis chapter 6, verse 18.
Yes, sir.
But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons and thy wife and thy sons' wives with thee. And of every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort shalt thou bring into the ark, to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female. Of fowls after their kind, and of cattle after their kind, of every creeping thing of the earth after his kind, 2 of every sort shall come unto thee, to keep them alive. And take thou unto thee of all food that is eaten, and thou shalt gather it to thee. It shall be food for thee and for them. Thus did Noah according to all that Elohim commanded him, so did he.
Praise Yah. Now look that word Noah up, and it means rest. It means rest. Okay, brothers, so let's go back to Hebrews 11. Yes, sir.
My co-workers, I was telling them about she's already fallen. She's on her knees, she just hadn't hit her face yet. So as I'm talking, they're looking at me like, this guy crazy. One lady told me, he was like, man, you look really healthy to be doing crack. And I was like, yeah. So anyway, I thought about it, reading that. Same thing as Noah. They didn't believe up in that. And I walked out and said, we'll see.
That's
We're
right.
going to see that she's going to fall. And it's going to be in our lifetime if we can just hold on and we'll do it.
Right.
And they looked at me like, this guy's a psycho.
Right.
But the same thing you read, that your commentary was, like Noah had said, you know, like, man, what are you doing?
Right.
This all for nothing. Are you crazy?
Right.
So I thought about that with your commentary. Praise God that you just said that to me.
Praise Yah. You know, we read some of this truth to people, man, they look at us crazy. Because they've been taught something totally different. And you're saying something contrary to what they've been taught.
What I thought when you were saying that was, out of all those multitude of people, not one of them offered to help.
Nah. Right. Okay, yeah, let's continue. Hebrews 11. Let's go 8 through 19. Still talking about people of the faith.
Verse 8. By faith, Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed. And he went out, not knowing whither he went. By faith, he sojourned in the land of promise, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Esau and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise.
Okay, see, Esau and Isaac and Jacob, and he said he was right there with him. Right? Okay. Okay. Let's finish up.
Verse 10.
Yes.
For he looked for a city which hath foundations, whose builder and maker is Elohim. Through faith also Sarah herself received strength to conceive seed, and was delivered of a child when she was past age, because she judged him faithful who had promised.
Okay.
Therefore sprang there even a one, and him as good as dead, so many as the stars of the sky in multitude, and as the sand which is by the seashore, innumerable.
Okay. Okay.
These all died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, and were persuaded of them, and embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth.
Okay, let's look at a little bit of that. Let's go to Genesis 12, 1 through 4. Let's see where Abraham heard that, and he did what Yahweh told him to do. Now, Abraham is living with his family. In most cases, they try to kick you out when you're 18. But Abraham was pretty old before he left, right? He was old before he left. Okay, y'all, let's go 12:1.
Now Yahweh has said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curses thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed.
Okay.
So,
go ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So Abram departed as Yahweh had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 70 and 5 years old when he departed out of Haran.
Okay. So he's 75 years old, coming away from his father's house. So this was a promise with no strings attached, right? Okay. Let's go another place. Let's go Genesis 18, 1 through 15, and let's see how this came about. He had already promised him what was going to happen. Okay.
Verse 1. And Yahweh appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. And he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door, and bowed himself toward the ground, and said, My master, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant. Let a little water, I pray you, be fetched, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. And I will fetch a morsel of bread, and comfort you your hearts. After that you shall pass on. For therefore are you come to your servant. And they said, So do as thou hast said. And Abram hasted into the tent unto Sarah, and said, Make ready quickly 3 measures of fine meal, knead it, and make cakes upon the herd. And Abram ran unto the herd, and fetched a calf tender and good, and gave it unto a young man, and he hasted to dress it. And he took butter and milk, and the calf which he had dressed, and set it before them. And he stood by them under the tree, and they did eat. And they said unto him, Where is Sarah thy wife? And he said, Behold, in the tent. And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life, and lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age, and it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women.
Right.
Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, after I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my master being old also? And Yahweh said unto Abraham, wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I of a surety bear a child, which am old? Is anything too hard for Yahweh? At the time appointed I will return unto thee according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son.
Okay.
Then Sarah denied, saying, I laugh not, but she was afraid. And he said, nay, but thou didst laugh.
All right. And Sarah's name means princess. Princess. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's just a comment.
Okay.
When Sarah laughed within herself, she didn't let nobody else that was around her know that she laughed within herself, but that those angels heard her. Because Yahweh heard her laugh within herself.
Right. You can't hide nothing from Yahweh.
Yeah, and see, our teacher has told us that our very thoughts is living entity.
That's right. Praise God.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to Hebrews 11. I think we was at verse 15.
Yeah, we're verse 14.
Yeah, okay.
Hebrews chapter 11, verse 14. Good class.
Praise God.
Hebrews chapter 11, verse 14. For they that say such things declare plainly that they seek a country. And truly, if they had been mindful of that country from whence they came out, they might have had opportunity to have returned. But now they desire a better country, that is, a heavenly. Wherefore Yahweh is not ashamed to be called their Elohim, for he hath prepared for them a city. Okay, verse 17. By faith Abraham, when he was tried, offered up Isaac, and he that had received the promises offered up his only begotten son, of whom it was said that in Isaac shall thy seed be called. According that Elohim was able to raise him up even from the dead, from whence also he received him in a figure.
Okay, let's verse 16. But now they desire a better country, that is, in heavenly, wherefore Elohim is not ashamed to be called their Elohim, for he hath prepared for them a city. And that's that new heaven and new earth. Nope. Or is that 1,000 years?
Not quite there yet.
Okay.
All right, 'cause
Okay.
we're talking to Abraham.
Okay.
He's covenant that land for him. So that's Yahweh's land,
Okay.
right? So that's why it's heaven.
Okay.
Right now, it's gonna continue to be that when the Mashiach sets up the kingdom of heaven. So it goes back to covenant Yahweh maybe gave him eyes from there. They're gonna give you this land. If Yahweh gives you the land, then that must be heavenly land.
Okay.
It's better than any other land around.
That's right. That's right. Okay. Okay, yeah, let's look at some, let's go to Genesis 21, 1 through 3, and let's confirm that birth of Isaac. Okay.
Genesis chapter 21, 1 through 3.
Yes, sir.
And Yahweh visited Sarah as he had said, and Yahweh did unto Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which Elohim had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare to him, Esau.
Okay, praise God. Okay, let's go to Genesis 22, 1 through 14, because this is line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little and there a little, right? So let's go to Genesis 22, 1 through 14, and let's check out the offering up of Isaac.
Verse 1. And it came to pass after these things, Abraham, and said unto him, Abraham, and he said, Behold, here I am. And he said, Take now thy son, thine only son Esau, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him therefore a burnt offering of which I will tell thee of.
Okay, Muslims got a problem with this.
Yeah.
They have a problem with this. Instead of Isaac, they want to say Ishmael was in here. Okay, but I tend to go with what came first. This came first. Okay, yeah, let's do it. Let's go.
Genesis chapter 22, verse 3. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his ass and took 2 of his young men with him, and Esau his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up and went unto the place of which Elohim had told him. Then on the 3rd day Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men, Abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship, and come again to you.
Okay, he said it looks like he said we're gonna come again. So apparently Abraham has some type of faith to keep going with what he's doing. Okay, let's keep going. Verse 6.
And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Esau his son, and he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both of them together. And Esau spake unto Abraham his father, and said, My father? And he said, Here am I, my son. And he said, Behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? And Abraham said, My son, Elohim will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering.
Okay, that's
so they went both of them together. And they came to the place which Elohim had told him of, and Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Esau his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood.
He didn't buck or nothing. He just laid there. He didn't buck. Okay, Elder.
Genesis chapter 22, verse 10.
Yes, sir.
And Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son. And the angel of Yahweh called unto him out of heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest Elohim, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for a burnt offering in the stead of his son.
Good job.
And Abraham called the name of that place, Yahweh will provide, as it is said to this day, in the mount of Yahweh it shall be seen.
Praise God. At verse 12, he said, And he said, Lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him, for now I know that you feareth Elohim, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. So he feared Elohim. There was a lot of people doing child sacrifices back during those times. But Yahweh didn't talk to them. He talked to Abraham, told him stop. Praise Yah. Okay, let's go another place. Let's go to Romans 4, 1 through 21, and let's see why Abraham was justified, and why Elohim didn't impute sin on him. Paul gives a little bit more detail in Romans 4.
Verse 1. What shall we say then that Abraham our father, as pertaining to the flesh, have found? For if Abraham was justified by works, he had way up to glory, but not before Elohim.
Okay.
For what saith the scripture? Abraham believed Elohim, and it was counted unto him for righteousness. Now to him that worketh is the reward not reckoned of grace, but of debt.
Okay, that's animal sacrifices. Not to him that worketh have the animal sacrifice is the reward not reckoned of grace, but of debt. So his reward was from his faith. Okay, Elder.
Verse 5.
Okay.
But to him that worketh not, but believeth on him that justifieth the ungodly, his faith is counted for righteousness. Even as David also describeth the blessedness of the man unto whom Elohim imputeth righteousness without works, saying, Blessed are they whose iniquities are forgiven and whose sins are covered. Blessed is the man to whom Yahweh will not impute sin. Cometh this blessing then upon the circumcision only, or upon the uncircumcision also? For we say that faith was reckoned to Abraham for righteousness. How was it then reckoned? When he was in circumcision or in uncircumcision? Not in circumcision, but in uncircumcision. And he received the sign of circumcision, a seal of the righteousness of the faith which he had, yet being uncircumcised, that he might be the father of all them that believe, though they be not circumcised, that righteousness might be imputed unto them also. And the father of circumcision to them who are not of the Jews only, but who also walk in the steps of that faith of our father Abraham, which he had, being yet uncircumcised. For the promise that he should be heir of the world was not to Abraham or to his seed through the law, but through the righteousness of faith. For if they which are of the law be heirs, faith is made void, and the promise made of none effect. Because the law worketh wrath. For where no law is, there is no transgression. Therefore it is of faith, that it might be by grace, to the end the promise might be sure to all the seed, not to that only which is of the law, but to that also which is of the faith of Abraham, who is the father of us all. As it is written, I have made thee a father of many nations, before him whom he believed, even Elohim, who quickeneth the dead, and calleth those things which be not as though they were. Who against hope believed in hope, that he might become the father of many nations, according to that which was spoken, so shall thy seed be. And being not weak in faith, he considered not his own body now dead, when he was about 100 years old, neither yet the deadness of Sarah's womb. He staggered not at the promise of Elohim through unbelief, but was strong in faith, giving glory to Yahweh, and being fully persuaded that what he had promised, he was able also to perform.
Praise Yah. So Abraham believed what Yahweh said, even though he was 100 years old and Sarah was 90 years old. They still believe what Yahweh said, you're going to have a son, and then your son, it's going to be the covenant, it's going to be coming through him. Yes, sir. Shalom.
How you feeling, man? Good to see you, brother. Let me ask you a question. In verse 7, it seems like when he said, now verse 6, even as David said, blessed is the man whom Elohim imputed righteousness without works. So when David did what he did with Uriah, that couldn't be could that be a sacrifice for him? Because he committed murder. That could be nothing to cover his sin if Yahweh didn't impute it to him, right?
Well, David was a man after Yahweh's own heart, right? So he didn't impute that sin on him, because David is going to be in the kingdom. He's going to be resurrected in the kingdom. Right. So, yeah, he didn't impute that sin on him, you know.
That would have been like death. I mean, so he's already blessed. He's already, like you said, David's man of his own heart. He's going to be in the kingdom, the Mashiach, everything. So
They just made a covenant with
It
it.
just made it right.
Mm.
Praise
Just
God.
like they have said, quite often, he didn't impute that unto him, but he told him blood went
Don't go through his family, his
to
household.
his house.
It's through his household.
All them sons he had.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's right. Praise God.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go.
Including the one that he conceived with Bathsheba. The baby died, right?
Yeah, she died. He died. The baby died. So out of that union, Yahweh didn't have that. So the baby did die. Okay, let's go back to Hebrews 11.
Baby hadn't done that.
What you say, brother?
I said, even in that, death is one and done. But Yahweh had years of punishment.
That's right. Praise
So
God.
that punishment was far worse than
Okay, let's read. Let's go to verse 20.
Yes, sir. Verse 20.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, Hebrews 11, verse 20. Let's keep reading. I'll tell you when to stop.
By faith, Esau blessed Jacob and Esau concerning things to come. By faith, Jacob, when he was a dying, blessed both the sons of Joseph and worshiped, leaning upon the top of his staff. By faith, Joseph, when he died, made mention of the departing of the children of Israel and gave commandment concerning his bones.
Okay, well, let's look at that, Elder. Let's look at that. Let's go to Genesis 50, verse 22 through 26. And Yosef's name means increase, or he adds. Let's go to Genesis 50.
Genesis 22 through 26.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Genesis chapter 50, verses 22 through 26.
Mm.
And Joseph dwelt in Egypt, he and his father's house. And Joseph lived 110 years. And Joseph saw Ephraim's children of the third generation. The children also of Machir, the son of Manasseh, were brought up upon Joseph's knees. And Joseph said unto his brethren, I die, and Yahweh will surely visit you and bring you out of this land unto the land which he swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. And Joseph took an oath of the children of Israel, saying, Elohim will surely visit you, and you shall carry up my bones from hence. So Joseph died, being 110 years old, and they embalmed him, and he was put in a coffin in Egypt.
Praise God. There we go. Line upon line, precept upon precept. Here a little and there a little. Okay, let's go back to Hebrews. Let's go back to Hebrews.
Hebrews chapter 11, verse 23.
Yeah, let's check 23 out.
By faith, Moshe, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents because they saw he was a proper child, and they were not afraid of the king's commandment.
Okay, well let's check that out, Elder. Let's go see how this act of faith took place. Let's go to Exodus 2, 1 through 3. Exodus 2, 1 through 3. So the children of Israel, they were multiplying during this time. And the king put out a decree. And he was telling the Hebrew midwives that if you see a male child, kill him. And what they were doing, they were throwing the kids over into the river. Right? Okay, so we had some midwives that didn't fear what the king was saying, right? Okay, let's read out of chapter 2. verse 1 through 3.
And there went a man of the house of Levi, and took to wife a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived and bare a son, and when she saw that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could no longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes, and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein, and she laid it in the flags by the river's brink.
Okay. Let's go to Exodus. I don't know why is that. Put that there. Hold up. I'll tell you what. Let's go back to Hebrews. Exodus. Right.
Hebrews chapter 11, verse 24. By faith, Moshe, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of Elohim than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season, esteeming the reproach of the anointed one greater riches than the treasures in Egypt, for he had respect unto the recompense of the reward. By faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible. Through faith he kept the Passover and the sprinkling of blood, lest he that destroyed the firstborn should touch them. By faith they passed through the Red Sea as by dry land, which the Egyptians are saying to do were drowned.
Okay. Let's check that out, Elder. Let's check that out. Let's go to Exodus 2, 11 through 15. And this is when Moshe identifies himself as Israel, as an Israelite. And by the way, Moshe's name means saved from the water.
Verse 11. And it came to pass in those days, when Moshe was grown, that he went out unto his brethren and looked on their burdens, and he spied an Egyptian smiting a Hebrew, one of his brethren. And he looked this way and that way, and when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. And when he went out the second day, behold, 2 men of the Hebrews strove together. And he said to him that did the wrong, wherefore smitest thou thy fellow? And he said, who made thee a prince and a judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me as thou killest the Egyptian? And Moshe feared and said, surely this thing is known.
Okay.
15, I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Exodus chapter 2, verse 15. But when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moshe, but Moshe fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well.
Okay. Now, in Hebrews 11:27, it said, by faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king. But we go back right here, it said he was scared. He feared him, so that's why he ran and got out of town. Got to get out of there. All right, let's go to Exodus. Let's see. Let's go to Exodus 12, 1 through 13. Yes, sir.
Just sit in this position, I see things differently.
Yes, sir.
And when I'm standing up there, and I'm looking at these verses here about faith. It says in verse 24, by faith Moshe, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of Elohim than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. Then it says in verse 26, esteeming the reproach of the Mashiach greater riches than the treasures in Egypt. Well, when you esteem something, you're lifting something up. So he's lifting up the reproach, the rebuke, the hardship of the Mashiach greater than the riches of Egypt. So it's better to suffer that reproach than enjoy the riches of the world.
Okay.
Right? So the question is, how did he know about the reproach of the Mashiach? Well, wasn't he seen at the Mount of Transfiguration?
Oh, yeah.
So, what did he actually see when he received those 10 Commandments?
Wow.
Because, this is a story being told us, and in Exodus chapter 2, we talk about his birth and him being put in the water, right? But it's being told, right? But it's a lot of things being said in that mount, as we see in the book of Genesis, the present way he's receiving the 10 Commandments.
Yes, sir.
There's something being said that's not really being said, because if he esteemed the reproach of Mashiach, he saw the reproach of Mashiach in that mount. He saw it. He was seeing a whole lot of things besides receiving the 10 Commandments. He saw a lot of things besides receiving that law. Right? So he saw other things. So our fathers, when Paul wrote this, they knew that he saw some things that weren't really recorded. You see, for instance, the elaboration of the exodus of the people out of Egypt in Exodus chapter 12.
Yes, sir.
We see a little bit more elaboration in Ezekiel chapter 20. It breaks it down even more about what they were doing out there in that wilderness. So what we see here is something that really wasn't recorded, but we see that Moshe saw something that had not yet happened yet. And he actually said that Yahweh's going to raise up a prophet, just like unto me.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
He knew. He knew that was a Mashiach. Yeah. So I'm just, this little observation there, sitting here. Not to sit here more often.
So would you say that Moshe actually seen the Mashiach up in that mountain in a vision?
According to what we just read here in chapter 11, that he saw the reproach of Mashiach, that it was better than if he enjoyed the pleasures of Egypt.
Right.
It's better to suffer what Mashiach suffered than to enjoy the riches of Egypt. Right. So, yeah, he saw it.
Wow. Just to make a little comment, in a question included, is when Moshe asks Yahweh to show him his glory, that would be included also everything with the Mashiach ruling?
No, what he saw was an angel. Right? That's all he saw. That's all he asked to see. Right? Now, again, he saw some things up in that mountain. Nobody else saw. He was in the mountain 40 days and 40 nights, twice.
Yeah.
Right? So within that time frame, he was seeing some things that he did not write down, or have his scribes write down, that we have recorded. But we see here that Paul is speaking through the Spirit that this is what Moshe actually saw. Right.
So thank you for breaking that down. Thank you. Okay, let's go to Exodus 12, 1 through 13.
Verse 1. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak you unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for a house. The lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it, according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your account for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. You shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, and you shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. And they shall take up the blood and strike it on the two side posts and on the upper door post of the houses, wherein they shall eat it. They shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Eat not of it raw, nor salted at all with water, but roast with fire his head with his legs and with the purtenance thereof. And you shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remaineth of it until the morning you shall burn with fire. And thus shall you eat it, with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand. And you shall eat it in haste. It is Yahweh's Passover.
This is the first Passover.
Verse 12.
Yes, sir.
For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am Yahweh. And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt.
Praise God. So Moshe had that faith to do what Elohim told him to do with that lamb, to put that blood over those posts so that you were in the wrath of Yahweh. So whoever didn't do that, they was destroyed. So yes, Moshe did listen to what Yahweh said. Okay, 28, 20, 30. All right. Let's go back to Hebrews 11.
That would make sense. The mediator of the old covenant had a vision of the mediator of the new covenant. I just thought about that. He would have to see them things.
He saw it, bro.
He would have.
Look who's in front of him.
He's in the midst of holiness.
That's what time and space there. So we can see beyond his own time.
Praise God. Yeah. Let's go. Hebrews 11, let's go to verse 30.
Verse 30. By faith, the walls of Jericho fell down after they were compassed about 7 days.
Okay, Elder, let's check that out. Let's see what type of faith our people had during this time. Let's go to Joshua 6, 1 through 20. I'll be out y'all here in a minute. Gotcha. Praise God. Joshua. And this is when the children of Israel are about to take Jericho.
Verse 1. Now Jericho was straightly shut up because of the children of Israel. None went out and none came in. And Yahweh said unto Joshua, see, I have given into thine hand Jericho and the king thereof and the mighty men of valor. And you shall compass the city, all ye men of war, and go round about the city once. Thus shalt thou do 6 days. And 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horns. And the 7th day you shall compass the city 7 times, and the priests shall blow with the trumpets.
Okay.
And it shall come to pass that when they shall make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when you hear the sound of the trumpet, all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat, and the people shall ascend up every man straight before him.
And these are specific instructions now. Specific instructions. Okay, let's go.
Verse 6. And Joshua the son of Nun called the priests and said unto them, take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bare 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark of Yahweh. And he said unto the people, pass on and compass the city, and let him that is armed pass on before the ark of Yahweh. And it came to pass, when Joshua had spoken unto the people, that the 7 priests bearing the 7 trumpets of ram's horns passed on before Yahweh, and blew with the trumpets, and the ark of the covenant of Yahweh followed them. And the armed men went before the priests that blew with the trumpets, and the rear guard came after the ark, the priests going on and blowing with the trumpets. And Joshua had commanded the people, saying, you shall not shout, nor make any noise with your voice, neither shall any word proceed out of your mouth until the day I bid you shout. Then shall you shout.
Okay.
So the ark of Yahweh compassed the city, going about it once, and they came into the camp and lodged in the camp. And Joshua rose early in the morning, and the priests took up the ark of Yahweh. And the 7 priests bearing 7 trumpets of ram's horn before the ark of Yahweh went on continually and blew with the trumpets, and the armed men went before them, but the rear guard came after the ark of Yahweh, the priests going on and blowing with the trumpets. And the second day they compassed the city once and returned into the camp. So they did 6 days. And it came to pass on the 7th day that they rose early about the dawning of the day and compassed the city after the same manner 7 times. Only on that day they compassed the city 7 times.
Okay, see these people seeing them walking around, going back home, coming back, walking around, going back home. Psychological warfare. Psychological warfare. Okay, Ella, verse 16.
And it came to pass at the 7th time, when the priests blew with the trumpets, Joshua said unto the people, shout, for Yahweh hath given you the city. And the city shall be accursed, even it and all that are therein, to Yahweh. Only Rahab the harlot shall live, she and all that are with her in the house, because she hid the messengers that we sent. And ye, in any wise, keep yourself from the accursed thing, lest you make yourself accursed when you take of the accursed thing, and make the camp of Israel accursed and trouble it. But all the silver and gold and vessels of brass and iron are consecrated unto Yahweh. They shall come into the treasury of Yahweh. So the people shouted when the priests blew with the trumpets. And it came to pass, when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they took the city. And they utterly destroyed all that was in the city, both man and woman, young and old, and ox and sheep and ass, with the edge of the sword.
Okay, Elder, appreciate that. Joshua had, yes, sir.
What was the accursed thing?
You said verse 18?
Yes, sir.
The accursed thing? You want that, Elder?
Well, he had the instruction in verse 17. It says, and the city shall be accursed, even it and all that are therein, to Yahweh. It's only Rahab the harlot shall live. So that city was cursed. Anything coming out of that city was cursed. According to the law, you're not supposed to bring a cursed thing into your dwelling.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
So you're going to see that in the next chapter of Joshua. That somebody did take of the cursed thing. Right? Achan. Right? And see what happens once you bring something that's cursed into your house. Right? So that city of Jericho was accursed, and when you continue to read this, it said that city will not be rebuilt unless it's on the bones of somebody else, the body of somebody else. I'm paraphrasing. But it's in that last verse in this chapter. But eventually Jericho did become a city, right? A city that they could dwell in. But right at this point, yeah, y'all was cursing the city. Right, okay.
And if you read 19,
these are nasty people.
If you read it 19, verse 19, it said, all but the silver, the gold, vessels of brass, and iron. And it's
supposed to go to Yahweh.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. Some of them didn't make it. So if it ain't in Yahweh's hand, it's a curse.
It's a curse.
Dick.
Yes, sir.
When we look at Rahab, just in this context right here, that she was spared. She assisted spies. Could you use that looking into the future with the Gentiles and the other nations that'll help us in certain things, maybe getting out of here, or that would be how they would be spared, possibly in the same situation, although they may not be keeping the commands or doing anything, but just by assisting us. Would that be the same, you think, for people today, like in this time, looking at what Rahab did, going to our time where we are now, they say other nations, they're not even, they don't know anything about the law, but they show us mercy or they help us. Would that be how they would be saved as a possibility?
I think so. See, Rahab, Yahweh shows mercy on who he will, right? Rahab was supposed to be a harlot in this time, right? But Yahweh showed mercy on her because, guess what? She helped his people, right? So as with the Gentiles, when they help Yahweh's people, that's a feather in their hat because it will be a place for the Gentiles in the kingdom. So yes, sir, my brother, you're right about that.
Thank you.
One of the things you might also consider in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 25, when it mentions when Mashiach returns, comes back, sets on the throne of his glory, sits goes on one side, the sheep on the other side. These are the nations. Those are the nations. Right? And those are the people that helped his people, that believed in him. So they're going to have a part in the kingdom too. Already reserved for them. Also, another example is that of what we just read here, Rahab, helping these folks, right? She's a hope. Right? But because she helped these men, her life was spared. So it goes back to what we read in Numbers 24. Say, he who blesses Israel shall be blessed. He who curses Israel shall be cursed. So if anybody that helps us, they got a shot at it. Like Yahweh compared it, like the Ethiopian, they helped Jeremiah out of that pit. Yahweh said, you're going to have your life for a prayer. I'm getting ready to destroy everybody up here so you can escape. Save you and your household. Same thing with Rahab and her household.
Whole household.
Rahab was supposed to be killed. Right? She's a Hamite. But Yahweh spared her because she blessed them two spies. Right. So yeah, the Gentiles, if they help us, they're going to have a place in the kingdom.
Matter of fact, let's read that. Elder, let's go to Hebrews 11, verse 31. Segue right into it.
Hebrews 11, verse 31. By faith, the harlot Rahab perished not with them that believed not, when she had received the spies with peace.
Okay, let's check that out. Let's go to Joshua 2, 1 through 14. Now we're talking about the faith of Rahab. And I looked that word up, and it means wide, broad. Wide, wide, W-I-D-E, and broad.
Oh, okay. Wide and broad.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Don't read
Joshua 2, 1 through 14.
Yes, sir.
Verse 1. And Joshua the son of Nun sent out of Shittim 2 men to spy secretly, saying, go view the land, even Jericho. And they went and came into a harlot's house named Rahab and lodged there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was told the king of Jericho, saying, behold, there came men in hither tonight of the children of Israel to search out the country. And the king of Jericho sent unto Rahab, saying, bring forth the men that are come to thee, which are entered into thine house. But they be come to search out all the country. And the woman took the two men and hid them and said, thus, there came men unto me, but I knew not whence they were. And it came to pass about the time of the shutting of the gate, when it was dark, that the man went out. Whether the man went, I know not. Pursue after them quickly, for you shall overtake them.
Okay, so she lied for the children of Israel, right? And Yahweh didn't impute that to her.
Right.
Okay, she's helping his people.
Right.
Okay, continue, Elder.
Verse 6. But she had brought them up to the roof of the house and hid them with the stalks of flax, which she had laid in order upon the house. And the men pursued after them the way to Jordan unto the fords. And as soon as they which pursued after them were gone out, they shut the gate. And before they were laid down, she came up unto them upon the roof. And she said unto the man, Yahweh has given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. For we have heard how Yahweh dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when you came out of Egypt, and what you did unto the two kings of the Amorites that were on the other side Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom you utterly destroyed.
Yahweh still getting that glory. Continue, Elder.
Verse 11. And as soon as we had heard these things, our hearts did melt. Neither did there remain any more courage in any man because of you. For Yahweh, your Elohim, he is Elohim in heaven above and in the earth beneath.
Apparently she heard that story about how the sea was dried up for the children of Israel. And she believed it. So according to her belief, her life was saved, and the people that was in her household also.
40 years ago.
40 years ago. Praise y'all. Continue, my elder.
Joshua chapter 2, verse 12. Now therefore I pray you, swear unto me by Yahweh, since I have showed you kindness, that you will also show kindness unto my father's house, and give me a true token. And that you will save alive my father and my mother and my brethren and my sisters and all that they have, and deliver our lives from death. And the men answered her, our life for yours, if you utter not this our business. And it shall be, when Yahweh have given us the land, that we will deal kindly and truly with thee.
Okay, that's all, Steve.
Oh, okay.
Praise Yah. So the children of Israel kept their word, and Rahab kept her word. And if you read later on in the story, they came through and they tore that city down. And they saved Rahab and whoever was in the house with her. I'm pretty sure she tried to tell everybody what was going down, but I guess nobody believed her.
I don't think she did.
You don't think she's talking about it?
That was scared.
Scared, okay.
She couldn't tell them what they gonna save me.
Okay.
I ain't gonna save y'all. She couldn't run around telling them that.
They'll kill her.
They'll be up in her eye.
Everybody in the house.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I'm gathering something here where it seemed like there wasn't any language barrier between our people and the Hammer. We were like close to speaking the same language here, because the two spies that went into that land where the Hamites were, so our language were pretty much closely together.
Good observation, bro.
Yeah.
Good observation. So, because how could she understand what the children of Israel were saying unless there wasn't a language barrier there?
Yeah.
Praise Yah. Okay, let's go back to Hebrews 11, and we're going to go 32 through 40. After that, I got two more for y'all that I'll be out y'all here. I just like saying that. Praise God.
Great history.
Yes. Yeah. See, these are our so-called heroes, our warriors, our people of the faith. But we don't get this in school. Never heard of them in school. Never.
Hebrews chapter 11, verse 32. And what shall I more say? For the time would fail me to tell of Gideon and of Barak and of Samson and of Jephthah, of David also, and Samuel, and of the prophets, who through faith subdued kingdoms, wrought the righteousness, obtained promises, stopped the mouth of lions, quenched the violence of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, out of weakness were made strong, waxed valiant in fight, turned to flight the armies of the aliens. Women received their dead raised to life again, and others were tortured, not accepting deliverance, that they might obtain a better resurrection.
Hold up, brother. The verse 34, that sounds like Daniel, Meshach, Abednego, and his other friends that he had with him. That sounds like them. Okay, Elder, continue.
Hebrews chapter 11, verse 36. And others had trial of cruel mockings and scourgings. Yea, moreover, bonds and imprisonment. They were stoned, they were sawn asunder, were tempted, were slain with the sword. They wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins, being destitute, afflicted, tormented, of whom the world was not worthy. They wandered in deserts and in mountains and in dens and in caves of the earth. And these all, having obtained a good report through faith, received not the promise. Elohim having provided some better thing for us, that they without us should not be made perfect.
Praise God. That's in verse 37. They were stoned, they were sawed asunder. But that sounds like Stephen. Stephen was stoned. Sawed asunder, that sounds like the prophet Isaiah. He was sawed asunder. By King Manasseh? Probably so. Okay. All right. In conclusion, it's too scared. Okay, in conclusion, O Israel, our kinfolk were ordinary men and women who Yahweh chose out of all the people in the earth. They did not possess superhuman strength, concocted in some secret underground lab funded by the CIA, nor were they figments of man's imagination played out in the studios of Hollywood. They were holy people doing the will of Elohim, or the will of the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. What other way is there to please Elohim than to, one, believe that he is, and two, that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. Let's go to Matthew 8, Elder Stephen, 5 through 13. Let's see the faith of someone that wasn't even from our people.
And when Yeshua was entered into Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion, beseeching him and saying, Adonai, my servant lieth at home sick of the palsy, grievously tormented. And Yeshua saith unto him, I will come and heal him. The centurion answered and said, Adonai, I am not worthy that thou should have come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. So he believed that if the Mashiach just even said the word, that he would be healed. That's some faith there. Okay, Elder Brother, let's go. Verse 9. For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me, and I say to this man, go, and he goeth, and to another, come, and he cometh, and to my servant, do this, and he doeth it. When Yahshua heard it, he marveled and said to them that followed, Verily I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. And I say unto you that many shall come from the east and from the west, and shall sit down with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the children of the kingdom shall be cast out into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And Yahshua said unto the centurion, Go thy way, and as thou hast believed, so be it done unto thee. And his servant was healed in the self-same hour.
The same hour. All he had to do was ask the Mashiach, and he took care of that business for him. One more place. Let's go to Matthew 14, 22 through 33.
One of the things we noticed what this centurion said was, he says, but I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me. Right. And I say unto you, this man go, and he goeth, and to another cometh, and to my servant, do this, and he doeth it. Well, he's saying, I know you got that same kind of authority. You under authority, but I know you got an authority. So all you got to do is say something. Speak the way it's done.
That is.
Right?
Yes,
He's equating himself like, I know what you are. I know you got power. I know you got authority. All you got to do is say something.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I like that. Praise God.
He knew. Heard of that.
That's true. Yeah.
Praise God. Let's go to Matthew 14, Elder. 22 through 33.
30 what?
22 through 33, Elder.
So I got a question. So did he, just because he seen the miracles that Yahshua was doing, or did he get revelation on the works that he was doing that he?
I didn't hear you. What you say?
I said, the centurion soldier, was he just watching the miracles that Yahshua, that was performing, that's how he knew it, or did Yahweh give him revelation?
I think he heard, and then I guess he seen for himself that, this is the guy, and he could do it. So the Mashiach was doing miracles all over that place. So I'm pretty sure his fame went through that city. So he couldn't even deny it.
Like you said, when you brought that comparison, Elder, because he says, like, in Yahshua's response, confirmed, because I never seen it like that, but it's like his response, I ain't seen this guy, I was only thinking about the healing component. Can you say that, Yahshua, this guy has seen something else? He saw that spirit to say that, like you said, equating him, that, I got this, you under authority, and you have authority. Oh, you got more faith than...
Right. He could see something Jews could not see.
Right.
And I found such faith in Israel. Right. Y'all see me doing this, you still don't believe
you ain't got it.
This white boy see me doing this, and I ain't got a problem with it.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, that's deep. Praise God.
Praise God, the Son of the Most High.
Yes, sir.
He's going to make himself known. You're going to know him.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this.
Matthew chapter 14, verses 22 through 33.
Yes, sir.
And straightway Yahshua constrained his disciples to get into a ship and to go before him unto the other side, while he sent the multitude away. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into a mountain apart to pray. And when the evening was come, he was there alone. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, but the wind was contrary. And in the fourth watch of the night, Yahshua went unto them walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, It is a spirit, and they cried out for fear.
Wow.
But straightway Yahshua spake unto them, saying, Be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. And Peter answered him and said, Adonai, if it be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water.
He wanted to do the same thing. He wanted to do that too, right?
He was kind of late. He was naked.
Hey.
Peter coming in. He said, I'm coming out.
He was unauthorized, no doubt.
Yeah.
Verse 29.
Yes, sir.
And he said, come. And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Yahshua. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried, saying, Adonai, save me. And immediately Yahshua stretched forth his hand and caught him and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? And when they were coming to the ship, the wind ceased. Then they that were in the ship came and worshipped, saying, Of a truth, thou art the Son of Elohim.
Praise Yah. Got to have faith, Judah. Got to have faith. Regardless of the wind blowing, regardless of how the weather is, you got to have faith in the midst of the storm. Praise Yah. That's my class, brothers and sisters. Thank y'all. Enjoy your new moon feast.